Well, hello everyone and welcome to another super exciting MIgardener official product review. Today we're going to be reviewing the General 4-in-1 Soil Condition Meter. This is a great meter. First off, I wanted to really compliment them on the sleek design, the sturdiness, and the fact that it's very easy to use. So I'm first going to go through the buttons here. There is not too many, which is great for any beginner gardener or even advanced gardener that would like to have something that's easy to use and straightforward. That to me is a great plus. So you get a plus for that. The next thing is the buttons is an on button, which is pretty simple and self-explanatory, and a Celsius and Fahrenheit button, and that's pretty self-explanatory. And that is also the off button, which you just have to hold to turn it off. There is a switch on the back, and that switch is what switches between your different settings here. So if I turn it on, I'm going to see a light meter at the top that's going to tell me my intensity of light. And the booklet that they give you actually tells you what the different levels are, the lux readings. Now, the lux readings, that's for a little more advanced gardener. I like it because it just has for kind of beginners like me that I don't really get into lux readings all that much. I say, oh, the sun's out, I get full sun, that's good enough for me. But for people that are a little more advanced into the lux readings here, you have a low minus, which is anything under 500 lux. You have 500 to 5,000 lux, which is low light. You have 5,000 to 10,000, which is low plus. Then you have 10,000 to 25,000 being normal minus. It's the lower end of normal light. Then you have 25,000 to 60,000 lux, which is the normal light range, just normal everyday light. Then you have 60,000 to 80,000 lux being normal plus, the higher range of normal. You have 80,000 to 100,000 lux, which is high minus. That's the high end, the lower end of the high scale. Then you have 100,000 to 120,000, which is high light. That's just really intense. And then you have 120,000 and above, which is high plus. And so if I am reading this right here as a plant, I'm going to just stick it in the soil where my plants are. And I see that I have, let's see here, not right where my plant is. So I have normal plus. So in this light right here, I have normal plus, and it's switching between normal plus and normal. So you can see that I have obviously really good light. It might not be the best light according to what they're saying, but hey, I'll take the higher end of normal for this level. I can see the sun's right above me, so it's definitely pretty intense. But the one thing I would say though, starting on the light, is the fact that the light needs to be directed towards the sun, because if I tilt the light meter this way, it says normal. If I tilt the light meter towards the sun, it says high minus. So you really have to be aware of that, because you might be getting the wrong readings even though you're testing in the right location. It's just not facing the right direction. So make sure you face the light meter right directly towards where the sun is so that you have the best reading possible. The next thing I have to critique about the light reader is that the light reader it's rather, I shouldn't say rather pointless, because it's definitely very beneficial. However, it's not really beneficial for someone who's already planted their garden. I would use this sometime in the beginning season before you've already planned out your beds. Because let's put it this way, if you build your beds here and you fill it with soil, and let's say you didn't even plant yet, and you use this, and it says you have low light, you've already got the beds in here. So I'd recommend having this machine prior to even building the beds. It's a good garden planning tool. Where's the best spot to put your garden? The next critique I have is the fact that this light reading will change throughout the year. because the sun is at different levels during the year. So which means you would have to plan a year in advance in order to use this properly, unless you're growing indoors under lights, which is a great way to use this tool. Is if you're growing hydroponically or aquaponically indoors, this is a great tool because you're using lights that are constant, always at the right angle. However, throughout the year, you're going to notice that the light will differ in intensity, because in the wintertime, the angle of the sun is so much different than during the peak summer season like we are at right now. So which means if you're going to adequately plant a garden in a good spot with good sunlight, you'd have to get this tool a whole year prior, go out during the growing season at different times, let's say in the spring and summer and fall, and test your intensity prior. So it's not a bad thing, but it's not really a beneficial use. It's kind of one of those things where you check it afterwards and you're like, oh, I have high sun, good to know. Now let's move on to the temperature. This also has a temperature gauge, which is awesome because I love knowing the temperature. Because it's a soil meter, you want to stick it in the soil, and that's going to give you a proper reading of the temperature. And the temperature of the soil is right around. All right, I waited. I checked the instructions here on the soil temperature, and it says to let it sit out between 3 and 5 minutes. So the temperature is steady, and it's actually steady at 84 degrees. So we got pretty warm soil, and that's beneficial because in the springtime, you really want to be using this tool to test your soil temperature, because oftentimes seeds do not germinate well in cold soil. The warmer the soil, the better germination rates you're going to have. The next thing I want to talk about is the soil moisture. The soil moisture is a great tool to have because it tells you if your plants are dry or not. That's something you can use all year long. You can actually use this and just come out at different points in time if you think your plants are dry. And it's great for that beginner because, as we talked about in several episodes, you can in fact kill your plants with kindness. You can in fact overwater these. And I can see that the plants are drooping, the leaves are drooping, and they are showing a definite indication that they need water. So this pepper plant here, next to the pepper plant, it's showing dry soil. So it says dry plus. So let's see what dry plus is. And dry plus is greater than 5%. So 5% soil moisture. 5 to 10% is dry, 10 to 20% is normal, 20 to 30% is wet, and 30% plus is wet plus, which is your plants are probably drowning. So that is really great, and that's one thing that I would definitely applaud the General Company, is that they have some amazing accurate scales to help people out. So they have the plus and the minus and the normal, and they have everything in between. So that's really great because for me, I like to just have kind of a one-touch type thing where I don't have to have a whole lot of tools. And then the very last thing is we're going to talk about pH. So we're going to switch on over to the pH, simple as a little flick, and we're going to test the pH here. It says to move the pH up and down into the soil, to come in, to have the sensor come in contact with the pH or of the soil to read the pH adequately. And we are right at 7, which is a perfect neutral pH. Gotta love that. That is just a great, that's just a great all-around growing pH. So there you go. There is the 4 different things that this general 4-in-1 soil condition meter can do. I hope you all enjoyed. And the very last thing that I have to do is give it a rating. I would definitely have to give this a 4 out of 5 for one reason and one reason only, and that is I would say the effectiveness of the light reader. As we pointed out, the light will change at any given time. If there's clouds, if there's fog, if there's, I mean, it could change by the day because the sun is constantly moving angles in the sky and constantly changing the intensity of light. So you would have to test it on a day-by-day basis, and it would also take a year prior to get adequate readings for the next year. So again, there is just far too many variables for an outdoors light reader. Now again, it's very effective. Don't get me wrong, it's effective. But for the beginner, I think it would just really confuse. And there's also technology in here that's, I would say, definitely added to the cost of this soil meter here. At the cost, I paid $25 for this meter. It's definitely worth $25 to me. I like knowing the accuracy. I like knowing what my soil temperature is, what my soil moisture is, and I like knowing what my pH is. So just having those three in there and having them be accurate is very reliable, and it's very good to have. It's kind of just a once and done type tool, which is why it got 4. But again, the only reason why I can't give it a 5 out of 5 is just because I think that the light meter in there is kind of an added bonus. It's kind of a, hey, we've got this too type of thing, but I really don't think it sells the tool. So there you go. There is my review on the General 4-in-1 soil condition meter. If you've ever tried this machine, let me know in the comments box below what you thought of it. Also, if this has persuaded you to go buy one, and you do buy one, let me know what you think of it. And also, any other comments or questions or concerns you have about this here. So I hope you all enjoyed. This is Luke from the MIgardener channel with another official MIgardener review. Hopefully you all are growing big or going home, and I'll talk to you all later. See ya. Bye.